Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Tonight's film is 1967's The Trip. This stars Peter Fonda, as well as Bruce Dern, as well as Dick Miller, and even Dennis Hopper, and some other awesome people like Susan Strasberg, I believe, as well, and just a lot of great characters that I'm not that familiar with. This is The Trip. This is a Roger Corman production written by Jack Nicholson. This is a film that very, very recently was just put on this Blu-ray right here by Olive Films. And I couldn't wait to buy this movie. I pre-ordered it because this is a film that I remember from my childhood. I must have taped it off of a cable station and on some VHS tape, and I used to watch it over and over and over again. 1967's The Trip. This is the cover art right here, and let me tell you, this Blu-ray is probably one of the best looking Blu-rays that I've ever seen, especially for a movie like this. Unbelievable looking. Unbelievable looking. The sound at times is a little uneven and soft and then loud at times, but you know what? I mean, you just turn the volume up and unbelievable. Let's get into this movie here. This is a film, essentially, we have, a lot of the films that I talk about on this page, like Jess Franco's films and things like that, are, are meant to be taken experientially, as opposed to a lot of the Hollywood mainstream films, which are meant to be taken in some kind of linear, logical storyline pattern, where style takes the back seat. This is a film that is literally meant to be an experience. This is a film that literally is a ride. It's an 82-minute ride. I mean, you could almost pass your tickets to the ride attender when you push play on this movie, because this movie is an experience. This movie is meant to be an experience. It is advertised as an experience, and from the get-go of the movie, it is telling you this is an experience. This is a ride. This is a journey, and it is a journey into one man's LSD trip. And so essentially what you're getting here with this film is you are getting a trip. You are getting an LSD, an acid trip. And this is not a movie about a guy who's taking acid. This is not a movie about acid. This is not a movie, any type of linear, logical, typical pattern of a film. This is a movie where you are essentially taking acid with Peter Fonda in this film, as the story goes. And the style of this film is unbelievable. I mean, in the closing credits of the movie, you see who made the kind of visual effects, the visual hallucinogenic effects, and this is obviously 1967, way before how they would do these effects today so easily on computers. These psych out hallucinogenic kind of kaleidoscope effects are all homegrown in this film, and might I say they look better than any computer generated images I've seen. The style of this film is unbelievable. I mean, it really is something for your eyes. It is really something for your ears. This is a film that is flashing and giving you colors and kaleidoscope colors upon reality and upon irreality, and, or should I say, unreality. And it really just morphs and pulsates. It's the movie breathes and moves and shockingly flashes in ways you haven't seen before. The edits are very, very intense and experiential, and sometimes they're slow and sometimes they're fast, and sometimes they're seemingly slow motion fast in between. And there are such a variety of experiences in this film as the lead character's acid trip is taking form. Sometimes it's in the form of, long dialogue sequences, and sometimes it's in the form of dancing or movement or running or walking or swimming or experiencing death or experiencing life through an orange or experiencing energy and vibes. This movie has very dark moments, almost horrific moments, like a horror film, almost gothic at times. And then there are mostly just these hallucinogenic, trippy, weird, bizarre, sexual uh, energy vibes just pulsating through this film. And there is a story in this film because it is the lead character. It's the lead character as he takes acid. He is revealing, he wants to see what happens. He wants to reveal himself. And so, as you watch this film, the story of this film is the lead character's revealing of himself, as is put out by taking LSD. As it says in the trailer, a lovely sort of death, LSD. And so it is the revelation of this, and it almost takes on an Alice in Wonderland type of vibe as you have a lead character who's in a foreign world because he's seeing everything differently. He's experiencing everything differently on acid. And, he's going about in reality, but also in his own reality. He has this very amusing time in this club, in this trippy club, and this very amusing time in a laundry mat, and an amusing time in this kind of hippie this hippie pot house, led by Dennis Hopper. And I got to tell you, the architecture of this movie is unreal, and in the Blu-ray, it's just unbelievable. The colors and the walls. I mean, if you want to see trippy, hallucinogenic late '60s paintings, and the way walls could be painted and stairwells could be individually spoked painted, and the way people's faces are painted, and black robes and horses and white face paint and wild body painted topless dancing and just wild conversations about fear and our perception of fear and the power of this, because essentially acid reveals the power of this, and essentially this film is all about this, and a carousel with a midget, and there's times it almost felt like an Alejandro Jodorowsky film, really. And you also have marijuana in this film, and you have love, and you have loves that have faded away, or death of love, and you have sex, and you have hallucinogenic sex, and it's really this film is just freaking awesome. I love this movie so much. The music of this film is unbelievable. The music of this film is just so unbelievable. You can get the soundtrack to The Trip. It is on vinyl record. If you can get the original vinyl record, okay, what I say is get the original vinyl record, because the original vinyl record has the full track list. It was re-released on vinyl for some odd reason, minus a bunch of tracks. It was also put on CD rather elusively with all the tracks of the original 60s vinyl, except it sounds like it was like ripped supposedly off of the vinyl, so the sound quality is not that good. So what you need to get is get the original 1960s soundtrack. I don't believe it's going for that much money, especially if you're going to get a copy that's like, not in mint condition, which, as long as it plays. So you definitely want to get that, and probably if you get it, the actual vinyl cover might have had marijuana or acid pills displayed on that at some point in the 60s and 70s. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 1967's Roger Corman's The Trip. This was produced and directed by the infamous Roger Corman, folks. And Peter Fonda is just unbelievable. All the acting in this film is unbelievable, but Peter Fonda is really, this is my favorite Peter Fonda role right here, because to be able to not just act stereotypically high, but to be able to really act and put forth the deepness of the mind, the deepness of the manipulation of the mind, to be able to put that out difficultly, deeply, truly, philosophically, experientially, unbelievable. And he has such a unique look in this film, and Bruce Dern is freaking awesome in this movie as well too. You definitely want to get this. This is really cheap. There's no special features except for a trailer. The menu screen is very cool. This is The Trip, put out by Olive Films. There's also a DVD copy. DVD copies that, I mean, seriously, if you want to watch this movie and you want to see it unbelievably the way it should be seen, what a transfer. It'll blow your mind. 82 minutes, and even the movie's end is wild. Even the movie's opening credit sequence is wild. The film, I don't believe, is not rated, but you do have topless nudity in this film, and you have some effects in this film, and obviously a lot of drug use, and you have some effects in this film that are just so wild, like things that almost mess with your brain that you really haven't seen before on naked bodies. And I gotta tell you, there's so many different vibes in this film. There's a really kind of a weird sense of reality in this film, especially before he even takes the acid. And just Peter Fonda's ways are just very, very interesting in this film. This is 1967's The Trip. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, and this is one of them. Please check out all my other reviews on this page, and please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. Thank you, and good night.